Greetings, dear friends and food enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into a dish that might be unfamiliar to viewers from Europe, the USA, or other parts of the world. However, our friends from the Baltic countries and Ukraine may recognize these savory delicacies made from various types of fish. Stay tuned as we explore this hidden gem of cuisine. Here I've got 3 types of fish: sturgeon, salmon and tuna fillet. These beauties are about to come together in one dish, but not in the way you might expect. Step by step, you'll learn how to create a smoked fish roll. The first thing we're going to do is slice them into thick horizontal strips, creating rectangular pieces. And let me remind you, my friend, to get the same result, you'll need a proper knife. By that, I mean a sharp and sturdy knife that makes clean cuts. A good knife is especially essential when working with a fish like sturgeon, which has thick skin and bony scutes. If you don't have one yet, check out my shop. Just scan the QR code and it'll take you straight to it. See that white bone I'm pulling out? That's the sturgeon's backbone. Sturgeon is an ancient fish with a primitive backbone. Unlike modern fish, this flexible, rod-like bone is one of the reasons the fish stays so flexible in the water. The hardest part, removing the backbone, is done. Now let's move on to filleting it. In the meantime, take a moment to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. This is exactly how every fish should be cut, so that when we layer them later, they'll fit perfectly. When we slice the roll, you'll see a beautiful checkered pattern with the different colors of the fish. It'll not only taste amazing, but also look stunning on the plate. Salmon's pink, tuna's red, and sturgeon's white will create a mosaic of flavor and texture. What's equally important here is removing any small bones. We don't want anyone getting a surprise while enjoying the dish. These fish, sturgeon, salmon and tuna, each bring something unique to the table. Sturgeon's mild, slightly firm texture, salmon's rich and buttery flavor, and tuna's lean, meaty bite. When combined, it'll be an incredible harmony of flavors. Now that the fish is cut, we need to prepare it for the next step. I'm taking this metal container and adding a layer of salt to the bottom. This will help draw out moisture. Then I carefully layer each slice of fish, one by one, on top of the salt, making sure everything is evenly packed. Finally, I cover the top with more salt. This curing process will preserve the fish and give it that extra texture before we assemble the roll. Next, I'm heading outside to cover the container with snow. The cold helps the curing process, allowing the salt to work its magic without the fish getting too dry. Living in a place where snow is abundant definitely comes in handy for tasks like this. While the fish is curing, I'm going to build the rectangular wooden box that we'll use to shape the roll. These wooden boards will hold the fish slices together as they set. It's kind of like creating a frame for a piece of art. When we press the fish inside, it'll take on the perfect rectangular shape, and the starch-water mixture I'm going to use will glue the pieces together. I think the fish has spent enough time in the salt now, so I'm bringing the container back inside. After washing the salt off, we're left with perfectly cured fish, ready for the next step. As I continue working on this wooden box, I have to say there's something incredibly satisfying about doing things by hand. I enjoy the craftsmanship involved in making this, knowing that the final result will be all the more rewarding because of the time and care I've put into it. Now, I'm laying the fish out on paper to dry off any excess moisture. We want it nice and dry so it will stick together well when we assemble the roll. And hey, don't forget to follow us on Instagram for behind-the-scenes glimpses of what goes on in the kitchen. Alright, let's prepare the glue mixture. It's just starch and water, but it's what will hold the fish slices together. Once it's ready, I'll brush it on and start arranging the fish in layers, sticking them together to form the roll. It's a simple but effective way to create this masterpiece. I've made sure the lid fits perfectly on the box. It's essential for keeping everything tightly pressed as we move forward. Okay, let's get going. As I said previously, I'm going to layer the fish and glue it together with the starch. This method, by the way, has its roots in the traditional culinary practices of the Baltic region, where smoked fish dishes have been crafted and perfected over centuries. To make sure that the fish sticks tightly to each other, I'll place this lock to press them even more. Now, we're going to bake the fish first. Baking helps cook the fish thoroughly and ensures that the starch mixture binds the layers properly, creating that solid, beautiful roll. After baking, we'll smoke it to infuse that deep, earthy flavor, giving the fish a wonderfully rich taste. Now that the fish has perfectly formed into a roll, it's time to get it ready for the final steps. Let's place the fish in the oven to bake, making sure it gets that initial cook-through for tenderness and firmness. Now, while the fish is baking, I'm setting up a smoking construction. The fish will go inside the tandoor, and right next to it, I'll build a simple smoking system. I've connected a tube from the small smoker to the tandoor, sealed it to keep the smoke contained, and filled the smoker with hay. The fish is out of the oven and now placed inside the tandoor. The smoke will work its magic, giving the fish that golden, slightly charred finish, full of flavor. Now, while the fish smokes, it's time for a well-earned break with some tea. Nothing beats the smell of fresh hay smoke and a warm cup of tea while we wait. The fish is ready. Look at that beautiful, colourful pattern when sliced. Perfectly checked with a mix of deep hues. And the flavour, it's unbelievable. The smoky aroma hits first, followed by the tender, slightly sweet fish with a hint of saltiness. The texture is smooth yet firm, with each layer melting in your mouth, leaving that delicious lingering taste of wood-fired smoke and savoury fish oils. This is what makes smoked fish such a delicacy. If you've enjoyed this cooking journey, don't forget to follow, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more traditional culinary adventures. And look at this cat. Even the cat can't resist the smell of the smoked fish.
Kanalımıza dəstək olmaq istəyirsinizsə, onlayn mağazamızdan xüsusi bıçaq və ya taxta qablarımızı əldə edə bilərsiniz. Mağazanın linki videonun altındakı təsvirdə var. Super.
And with that, we're wrapping up. Thanks for watching, and see you next time for another unique dish.